What's up, brothers? Hope everybody's doing well out there. I'm out here burning some wood. I figured I'll turn the camera on and shoot the shit with you guys for a little bit. And in tonight's video, I want to discuss this topic of being over the age of 30, being single, and having no kids. And the reason why I want to talk about this subject is because the majority of my followers are in that boat, and I'm in that boat myself. So, I kind of understand what comes along with that. Sometimes at night, you kind of wonder, you kind of hit that panic button. You're not really sure if you've done things right, or if it's too late for you, or if you're making the right decision by staying single. And I think it's natural to kind of have that sort of a mindset, to have that sort of a discombobulated mindset, you could say. And, the first thing you should probably think about is, what got you here. And at least in the United States, and I'm sure in all Western countries, you're kind of sold this idea that when you're young, you should focus on your education and your money and your memories. And, there's definitely some merit to that. When you're young, or especially when you're single, it's really easy to get out there and stay in really good shape, diet, train, work hard, make money, invest in yourself, invest in your education, invest in your future, develop skills, all that stuff, all that self-improvement stuff. It's very easy to do when you're single, but most people, when they get into a relationship, they lose that edge. Men lose that masculine vigor. Women lose that young, sexy, 21-year-old figure that they had, that sexy woman identity that they have. And they kind of become, a mother, a wholesome mother. And men become that wholesome father. And, for the most part, I would say they don't regret their decisions. The majority of couples stay together, they stay married, and they live a happy life. But, there is that 40% that have those brutal divorces. So, I guess it's somewhat of a gamble. But for the average person out there, I don't think that gamble is what's stopping you from settling down and getting with somebody. I think what's stopping the average person from settling down is the fact that a relationship requires so much sacrifice. When you're single, you can work, you come home, you can do whatever you want to do. We've got all of these different devices to keep us entertained nowadays. For men, it used to just be guns, sports, and beer, and cars. Now that we have the internet, we got everything you could ever possibly imagine, and the entertainment is just right there. And like I said, you also have that ability to self-improve, diet, work out. You could stay busy and you can enjoy your life and just be happy with what you're doing and the results that you're getting. But if you're single and that's the life that you're living, you kind of have to understand that the reason why you're not making that sacrifice is because, you're selfish, maybe a slight bit narcissistic. And this isn't for the black-pilled guys that are just terrible with women and can't get a girlfriend. This is for the guys that can, And, I think most people don't want to commit just because they don't want to make that sacrifice. They don't want to give up their freedom of being able to do whatever they want, whenever they want. They don't want to share their money with somebody. They don't want to share their car with somebody and their house with somebody. And those are the sacrifices that you make when you're in a long-term relationship and you want to get married, you want to start a family. Especially if you're a man, you're kind of responsible for all of that stuff. You're responsible for the finances and the general well-being of the family. That's a major task to take on. Although I don't have children, I have been in a 10-year relationship. And, one thing that I will say is when you decide to make that sacrifice and get into a relationship, it does give you a feeling of turning your house into a home. As much as you may like doing all that stuff you do when you're all by yourself, when you're in a long-term relationship, you don't regret it. You don't regret being in that relationship for the most part. I think it's a sacrifice that the majority of people would be happy if they would just make. And, when a lot of guys reach out for dating advice, guys that are looking for relationships, and women as well that are looking for relationships, they always have this issue where they'll go out for a couple of months and, it just kind of fizzles out, goes away. And, I understand a lot of manosphere guys, pickup artist types will try to give you, this game and these solutions to keep things exciting. But in general, I don't think the excitement level is really what's causing the problems. I think what's causing the problems is after a couple of months when things start to get serious, when it's about to make that switch from, we're just dating to we are a serious relationship. I think the majority of new adults, I would say people born in the late 1980s and so forth, these people in general, once it starts to get serious, they're turned off by that idea. It's not about you. It's not about, something you're doing wrong or over pursuing or under pursuing or, your technique or something like that. I don't think that's what it's about. I just think the majority of people, both men and women, are unwilling to make that sacrifice to switch from single, dating, having fun, hooking up, enjoying myself, self-improvement, so on and so forth. They're unwilling to take that step to committed relationship where this relationship comes first. Because a relationship is the budding of a family. A man and a woman, they get together, they get married, they have children, they have a family. And when you have a family, comes first. A single guy can quit his job. A single guy doesn't have to worry about progressing in life if he doesn't want to. He can sit there and play video games and drink beer, do whatever he wants to do. But a man that's married with children, he has to provide. So, he has to buck up and get things done. So, I think a lot of guys out there don't want to make that sacrifice and, play that role. Because it sort of does turn you into a workhorse. You're just a workhorse out there in the field providing for his family. And here in the West, they've pretty much destroyed the family unit, with court, with laws, with hookup culture and all this stuff. And I'm not saying it's not possible. There's still happy couples, starting families every day, but it's certainly minimized the chances for a lot of people and turned it into somewhat of a pipe dream. It's not like it was 50 years ago. But I think the number one thing, if you are somebody out there that wants a relationship, is when you're out there and you're dating a woman, I think you need to add some sort of consistency and function to the relationship. It's not excitement and shock value and all the stuff the pickup artists want to imply. In general, for me and my two long-term relationships, the way that we got both of those started was consistency and function. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, my first long-term relationship, we had decided we were going to talk on the phone literally every night of the week for like an hour. I know, beta, week, whatever, call it what you want. But, we made time to communicate every single day. We had, I think it was Wednesdays and Fridays, we would go out on dates. And we just did this for about a year. And then we started going to church together. We started going to the gym together. So we were adding consistency and functionality. And, I say consistency, consistently spending time together. Even if, we had shit going on, we still made the time to do it. And the functionality, adding pieces of our lives that were important, family events, church, the gym, sort of self-improving together, adding that functionality to our relationship. Not a dysfunctional relationship where you're just randomly meeting up to hook up, randomly meeting up, getting drunk, like most people do. It was real functionality, and because of that, we had a solid foundation. And my second relationship, I was sort of living a pickup artist lifestyle, I guess you could say. I never considered myself a pickup artist, but I was hooking up with a lot of women, and I was, a bachelor living in a city where I didn't really know that many people. So, my only real outlet to get out there and have a good time was to meet women and, have fun with them. So that's what I was doing. And I'd met this one girl. And my best friend that I worked with, he brought up a conversation when we were at work. And he's like, hey, are you ever going to get back into a long-term relationship? And I was like, I'm not sure, I just don't really know if that's for me. And he said, well, here's what you need to do. He said, you need to go out with this girl that you're currently talking to every Friday night for the next 8 weeks. He said, every Friday night, just once a week, tell her that for the next 8 weeks, the two of you are going to go out every Friday. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I wasn't really thinking about it. He was the son of a pastor. His dad had a mega church. Anyways, good friend. So I was like, you know what? This guy genuinely wants what's best for me. He's a good friend, so screw it. I'll take the guy's advice. So I told her, said, hey, let's go out every Friday for the next 8 weeks. No matter what you have going on, no matter what I have going on, we'll just make it work. And we did. And we ended up being together for 4 years. So the number one recipe that I would give guys that want a relationship is consistency and function. Don't worry about the game and the seduction and turning a woman on and making her wet and all this stuff that the manosphere wants to teach you. That stuff happens naturally when a woman falls in love with you. Don't get me wrong. If you're jacked, if you got a silver tongue, if you got a good mouthpiece, that's all going to benefit you for sure. So I'm not telling you not to work on that stuff, because you definitely should. But that consistency and function is what's going to make a woman committed to you. And once you go out, once you turn your relationship, your friendship, or whatever it is, into a habit, into something that's expected, into something that you've both sort of unknowingly committed to, you sort of get comfortable with each other, and you start to view each other as something that is somewhat irreplaceable. You view them as your person, as a person that you can count on. And, I think for a lot of guys out there, even the most hardcore alpha male, red pill, MGTOW type of guys, you might not regret making that decision. I understand the West has fallen. The Western men have gotten weak. They don't want to settle down. They don't want to start families. The system has really turned them that way, and you can't blame them. I mean, with all due respect, fuck the system. The system is fucking garbage. Excuse my language, but we got to put an exclamation on that point. So it is garbage. It trains us all to get educated and work on ourselves until we're 35 years old, and then maybe have 1 or 2 kids. And that's why our society is falling apart, but that's a big reason, at least. But I think for a lot of people out there, they can still make that change. But listen, we do have kind of a vibe going on worldwide right now that this is kind of like the end. You know, a lot of people are on this doomsday shit. I think, to be honest with you, it just kind of feels like there's not really much to live for in this day and age. You know, the world has kind of gone to shit. But with that being said, you know, when you go home to all of your cool, fun electronic devices, you know, all of that stuff, you know, the TV, the computer, the internet, the video games, the, you know, whatever you have going on at your house, none of that stuff is going to turn your house into a home. You know, and I truly believe that. And I think human beings are wired to have another human being with them. They're hardwired to start families. And, you know, if you're somebody that wants to stay single, so be it. You know, I'm kind of half in, half out right now as well. But my advice is, I do believe that the majority of people out there would be a lot happier. You know, if you just approach that girl at the gym, or, you know, that girl you have a crush on right now but you haven't really made a move on, or that girl you've gone out with a couple of times but you're both kind of half in and half out. You know, I think you would improve your life a lot if you would sit that person down and say, hey, let's make a commitment here. Let's go out every Friday for the next 8 weeks. You know, let's set a certain amount of time for each other on specific days of the week. Let's go to the gym together. Let's go to church together, whatever it is you have going on. And I think if you take those steps, then you'll be able to develop a solid relationship with that person. Not a fake, superficial bullshit relationship like the majority of them are nowadays. You know, but also watch out for red flags. You know, there's a lot of narcissists out there, you know, borderline personality disorders out there, people that'll trick you into thinking that they offer the qualities that it takes to have a good relationship, but in reality, it's all fake and they're just going to use you. So you got to be able to identify those red flags. And don't settle for anything less than genuine desire. Anyways, guys, guess we've been out here ranting for quite some time. Hope this video was helpful for any of you guys out there that feel like hitting that panic button, over the age of 30 and still single, and women as well. But there's many of us, especially here in the United States or in any Western country, there's many of us that are in the same exact boat. So don't feel too bad, and understand that there's still hope. You know, you could still make something happen. And even if you don't, you know, what's the world coming to anyways? That's another thing. Do you want your children growing up in this world? That would be the scariest thing about being a parent. You know, imagine if you had a couple of 5-year-old kids, and looking at the way the world's going, thinking about raising them up in this world. That's a scary thought. You know, it's sort of a fallen state out here. But then again, if you're a good person and you raise your kids right, then they will be the future, and maybe they'll be the difference that the world needs. Who knows? But hey, guys, I don't really see a need to go on with this rant anymore. But I hope this video, this conversation was comforting, helped you relax a little, not feel so bad, not feel guilty for being single. But also, if you're somebody that doesn't want to be single anymore, hopefully it gives you a blueprint and provides you with a sense of urgency to make those changes and make the difference that you need. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this one off. Looks like it's getting a little dark out here anyways. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Subscribe to the channel.
To the window, to the wall, until the sweat drops down my balls, until all you bitches bushes crawl. Oh, skeet, skeet, goddamn.